Hello guys, it's Armorek here. The patch notes for Season 1 of Diablo 4 has finally been released. That happened last night. And in my initial thinking was, okay, when the patch notes drop, I'm doing a video immediately. Well, first thing is that I was troubled with personal stuff and it took all of my time. And that's actually good because I took my time to go through the patch notes, read them all. I also saw a few reviews of other people who are playing the game and they're much better in the game than me. So I saw a few different opinions. And right before I done this recording, I went through the patch notes again. And as you can see, the dog is here. Okay, let's go down. So I went through the whole patch notes again and tried to take away the most important stuff so I can speak more about that and don't look at other less meaningful things, because everything in the patch notes is very meaningful, and prepare for a very long video because those patch notes are ridiculously long. I mean, this patch itself is ridiculously long. So let's dive in and see what Blizzard did this time. So here we go. These are the patch notes that Blizzard released. This is patch 1.1.0a. So expect on live 1.1.0b. Let's see that. But I'll use max row because max row has used aspects and skills, and you can see more better. You can see better what are the items that we're talking about in certain cases. The dog is barking at something, and I'm not sure what. He's gonna interrupt my video, but I apologize for that if you hear him, or if I stop speaking and get unconcentrated on something. Whatever. Let's start with the uniques. This is the hot topic. The first very important thing. Let me open my tab here, because I got notes, of course, that I took from the patch notes. I got my own notes. So we're speaking about uniques first. We have 6 new unique items in the game. The first one is a Shavarian Spear of Lycander. A Shavarian Spear of Lycander. Okay, I can't read this properly. Which says gain a random shrine effect for 10 to 20 seconds after killing an elite enemy. Can only occur once every 30 seconds. This reads good. This looks fine. Two problems about this. This is a Uber unique. So another Shaco grandfather, so on and so on. And other problem is that it's a two-hander and it's gonna take us a slot for a legendary aspect that is very powerful for our build. And I was watching Mr. Lama's video last night, and he said this is gonna be very interesting in early game to play around while you don't revolve around those super powerful aspects that you're imprinting on your two-handers. So either if you find this, it's gonna collect dust in your stash, or you're gonna sell it for gold, which is gonna be ridiculous. I mean, you can try it once if you are lucky enough to find it, but there is another item in the super rare pool. Now there are 7 already items in this pool, and this one is taking spot. And imagine you have a Uber unique dropped, and you're expecting a Shekel or a grandfather or a Doombringer, and you got something else like this, which is, I mean, it's nice, but it's not for Uber unique, in my opinion. Okay, we continue on. Azure Rat, this is for Barbarian, a sword. Lucky hit, core skills have up to 20% chance to freeze enemies for 3 seconds and deal amount of cold damage to them. First, before continue speaking about this one, I want to mention that why Blizzard didn't show us the items options, the affixes that the items have, because we know that the options of the uniques are fixed. We can't change them. Why they didn't show to us what are the options of the items? I mean, we see only the legendary power, which is, in my opinion, they could have done that, but anyways. So about this unique here, it sounds nice. I mean, more chance to freeze with core skills and more cold damage. Well, why on earth we're going to do cold damage with the barbarian? This is weird, honestly. There is another item, another unique, which is for all classes. Frost burns, the gloves that you can use, but you're losing damage with these gloves because they are all revolving around different stats and they're not giving you +2 core skill, which is very important in Diablo 4. So I don't see this be very useful, as most of the uniques anyway in the game, there are 2 or 3 uniques for overall of the classes and all the uniques that we have that are useful nowadays. Let's see the druid one. This is one-handed mace. So debilitating roar and blood hallow deal amount of damage to nearby poisoned enemies. So basically the debilitating roar and the blood hallow are defensive skills, and they're basically healing you. This one can be used as a healing potion essentially. And I haven't used debilitating roar that much, honestly. Shapeshifting into a werebear below and below mighty roar, reducing nearby enemies damage dealt. Okay, so this is damage reduction, this is healing, and that's great. Later on in the video you will see why this is good, and the fact that it's doing more poison damage, that means it can be used with poison stuff revolving around werewolf. So, and shape-shifting into different forms. This is interesting, honestly, but we need to see the options. What are the affixes of the item itself? Necro. This one have been in Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. A lidless wall. It's a shield. So first thing in my mind, Necro shield. What is the imprinted affix that shields have for Necromancer? The inherited affix, or whatever you want to call it. It's thorns. Why on earth we're gonna lose a two-hander or a wand and a I don't know how the little skulls and the other offhands are called. They're not shields for sure, which are giving you cooldown, and the wand is giving you lucky hit. Well, okay, we were gonna use lucky hit, for example, or crit with the swords, but why on earth we're gonna use shields with thorns? Whatever. The effect itself, lucky hit effect, while you have an active bone storm, hitting an enemy outside of the bone storm has up to 25% chance to spawn an additional bone storm at the location, which is, that sounds interesting itself for now. And each of the active sacrifice bonuses increases the chance by 25%, which I got a little bit confused first time I read that, but after a few explanations here and there, shout out to the other content creators, apparently this may be stacking. Okay, so imagine you have 25% chance to spawn an additional bone storm, and you have 3 sacrifices, all of your sacrifices. That says 100, what is it, 525, which means 100% chance to spawn a bone storm if you have fully sacrificed everything. That's interesting. So other thing is that it gives you more bone storms, so a lot of bone storms, but this is going to be triggered only when you have active bone storm. So yeah, we need to see this as well. But so far the druid one, in my opinion, is the best. I don't know about the damage input though, but it requires you to use these. So this is defensively, offensively orientated. This as well. So we shall see how these work. The barbarian one is I feel that Blizzard hate barbarians. I don't know why. Let's see the rogue one. Eagle Horn. This is a unique bow. It's a round penetrating shot. Has a 30 to 80% chance to fire an arrow that bounces off walls and scenery. Which means, especially in tight spaces, if you shoot this arrow, this specific arrow, it can go off things and hit enemies from behind, and you'll see why is this important. Hitting enemies from behind with penetrating shot will make them vulnerable for 3 seconds, which is another way to uh, to use vulnerable on enemies. Anyways, I lost my words here. However, this one is I think it's fine. Another unique that nobody's gonna use, I guess. But we'll see. And the sorcerer one, the Oculus. So if you have played Diablo 2, the Oculus was a very important one there, very powerful one, which was protecting you via teleporting you in a random location. I believe there was a similar event, a similar effect in D3 as well, around wizards. I don't remember what was it, but I assume there was something similar. But in Diablo 4, look at what this thing does. So first we'll read. This is the one again. Gain an effect of the teleport enchantment for free. So what the teleport enchantment does is giving you a shorter, apparently, teleport. Here it is. Evade is replaced with shorter teleport for more cooldown duration. Okay, that's fine. I've used that on my sorcerer. And if you're playing this on mouse and keyboard, essentially this is another, and if you have maximum 4 evade charges on your boots, this is 4 more teleports, which is ridiculously powerful. On controller, I haven't tried it, but I assume that the teleports are going to be shorter. Okay, so this is nice. You have 3 enchantment slot apparently. I mean, this means 3 enchantment slots if you use the Oculus. But there is a downgrade to this effect. When you evade using this enchanted teleport, you're taken to a random location. Why on earth? This is so ridiculous, man. The first time I read this, I was like, okay, this looks fine. And after that, I saw random location. Why? I don't know. Apparently, it's going to be very powerful, but yeah, I mean, but you're losing yeah, on a one, you're gonna lose an aspect, apparently. But yeah, it's if this random location nonsense weren't part of the item power, of the legendary power of the item, it was going to be the best unique, or at least in top 3 uniques in the game so far. But this is ruining everything. There is a note here about the Azeroth and Flesh Renderer uniques. Those are the Barbarian and the Druid ones. So it says that the damage of the effect, so if you see here, there is written, for example, 0.75 to 1.5 cold damage, and this one is 0.5 to 1.0, and it's stacking with the item power. So if you have maximum item power, the Azeroth is doing this damage. So that's fine. Higher item power, higher damage input. Okay, that's understandable. I get it. Let's continue with the legendary aspects. The 2 general aspects, so we're getting 7, 5 for every class, and 2 general. This one is utility aspect, and it says when there are at least 5 close enemies, stun them for 2 to 4 seconds. This can only occur once every 20 seconds, so this is very, very good. I like it a lot. This gives you free crowd control to all of the classes, and I think this is nice, especially if there is a lot of density in the dungeon, you're playing high tier yeah, high tier dungeons and higher world tiers, 3 or 4 essentially. This is gonna be very useful. And the other one is mobility aspect. It's a little bit weird. You gain 20-40% increased movement speed. That's perfect. But when you're moving away from slowed or chilled enemies, so apparently these two can work together. But why on earth you're gonna lose 2 slots for well, okay, 1 slot for movement with this? I don't know, maybe it's gonna work properly. We're gonna see. Other other thing is, for example, you're using penitent greaves. These are boots which are leaving frost trail and it's chilling enemies. And someone said that if you're using this aspect with penitent greaves, is gonna give you more movement speed. Well, in my opinion, this is not gonna happen because these mobility aspects can be imprinted only on boots, if I know the game correctly. So that's not an option. And you can't take the penitent greaves option as well and put it in some other item. So no, this won't be working. But these two can work together, I believe so. Okay, let's continue with the barbarian ones. Ancestral charge. This is a offensive aspect that is buffing charge. It's giving you charge cost for ancients who also charge, dealing 50 to 100% of normal damage. That sounds good. That sounds good, but there's a but, of course. Later on, when we go through the barbarian changes, balance changes, we're gonna see that they thought of some things and there are changes to the charge itself. Okay, so druid one, but this one is better than the unique one for sure. The druid one is subterranean. Oh my god, I can't even read these names. One on earth. Another offensive one. This one is good, I remember it. Poison Creeper's active also casts Landslide in a circle around you. That means once you cast the active power of Poison Creeper, because it has a passive one as well, the active version casts Poison Creeper and Landslide at once, and the Landslide is happening in a circle, which means you are targeting a location, for example. That's nice, and also in addition, Earth kills deal increased damage, 10 to 20% increased damage to poisoned enemies again, which again, poison enemies, poison creeper, earth skills, and as you can see here, this also says poison enemies. So Blizzard trying to buff poison builds with the druid. I don't know. The necro one. Let's see the necro one. But this one is nice. This one is good. Another offensive one for Bloodlands that says Bloodlands to consume blood orbs to also conjure lances from them. That's cool. So if you're playing a blood build, you're spawning a lot of blood orbs, and you can cast manually bloodlands, and also once you're taking blood orbs from around, it's casting bloodlands as well. That's cool. And each additional bloodlands dealing 20 to 50% of normal damage and prioritizes targeting unlanced enemies. So essentially this is gonna spray blood lances everywhere. The damage, I'm not sure I understand it good. Is it stacking above the damage you have, or it's dealing 50% of your damage? I guess it's the second one. So they're gonna be less powerful, apparently. They're gonna do less damage the ones you're spawning from the blood orbs. But you're gonna spray blood lances everywhere, which sounds cool, I guess. And you're gonna be healing yourself simultaneously with the blood orbs, so that's cool. And if you add, there was a specific unique armor that was casting bone spirit with the blood orbs, so that can go around something ridiculous. Bloodlands, bone spirit necro. I don't know. We'll see that how it's gonna work out. This aspect is cool. I like it. I'll think of trying Bloodlands, but I don't believe necro is gonna be my first class this time around. Let's see the rogue one. Pestilence points, another offensive one, all of them are offensive. Every third cast of Puncture is poison imbued with 100 to 150% of normal potency. Okay, so in my mind this is very good. It can open the door for a puncture build, for example, I guess, for poison puncture, or well, puncture itself, I don't believe it can be powerful enough to deal with monsters in higher tiers, but not sure, I haven't played the rogue that much. But that sounds cool. Also, it's giving you a free poison imbuement, and the poison imbuement is very powerful for single target, which is the troubles with most of the ranged rogue builds. For example, rapid fire barrage. Oh no, the rapid fire is good for single target, I guess, but the penetrating shot is struggling with single target. The barrage, I guess, it's struggling again. Flurry also is struggling with single target, so this can improve the single target of the rogue a lot. But the problem with this, because you'll see later on that Blizzard are trying to make us use skills that we haven't been using much so far, and go away a little bit from the ones that are top tier for now. And puncture is one of the top tier skills so far. Every rogue build is using puncture because it's a very easy way to imprint vulnerable, use vulnerable damage. I mean, it's making every third enemy vulnerable, or it was something else with the vulnerable aspect, but it doesn't matter. One of the puncture upgrades is giving you vulnerability, so it's a little bit weird that they're giving us a puncture thing, but yeah, we're using puncture for sure in every rogue build so far, from now on, sorry. Okay, and the last one is the sorcerer one. Let's see, after spending, I guess this is I don't know why it's 200 mana. I don't understand that. But anyways, once you spend amount of mana, your next firewall is a free cast and will destroy incoming small missiles. So I believe this is very good, and this is very defensive one. It's not an offensive one. In my opinion, it's a defensive aspect. Okay, the free firewall itself is very nice, but the fact that it can protect you, that is gonna be ridiculously important for the sorcerers. We're gonna see why later on. Okay, so there are some bug fixes. Let's see. Yeah, apparently some accessibility bugs. Okay, so challenges here. One important thing in here is that let me see, is it, yeah, this one, the feat of strength final slayer of the first mother now requires you to slay the level 100 pinnacle boss solo. The silence is hellish, challenge remains unchanged. So I'm not familiar with the challenges that much, but the thing that I understand what is happening with my whatever. So the thing that I understand here is no longer a 100 character who can kill over Lilith very easily, can carry you through the queue, and you get the challenge reward, which was some kind of a title. I mean, that's what it says. Okay, let's continue on. So you can read these bug fixes yourself. There are a lot of bug fixes happening. Overall, the idea is that they're trying to make things work properly as intended, and a lot of things are not working properly, so that is why there are so many bug fixes. There are some cooperative play bug fixes. Okay, dungeon fixes. There was something interesting I saw in here that revolves around Thorn ethics on elites. Where was it? Let me see. Yeah, no, this is traps. Oh, there it is. Fixed an issue where the monster Torrent's affects in Nightmare Dungeons was reflecting physical damage. It will now properly reflect non-physical damage. So that's not that great, I guess, because the non-physical damage means elemental damage, and as you know, at that point, the resistances, which are the damage mitigation for non-physical damage, are not working properly. I mean, they're weaker, and they're not viable at all. So I don't know, probably they for sure gonna fix that with the resistances, but this change here that dealing that the torrents damage is non-physical, I believe that is going to be well, I think that is going to be very bad for players, especially intelligent classes like sorcerer and necromancer that's revolving around resistances. They're gonna have troubles with these elites, but we shall see. Let's continue on. You can read those, as I said. The awakening glyphs spawnings everywhere in the dungeon. Please, I've played a few times with a party, and it's spawning randomly in the party. You can't find where it is, so that's a nice change if they really fix that. Gameplay bugs, let's see. So now for the barbarian, big hole to nerf. Of course, if you're familiar that this aspect is creating... Oh no, wait a second. Oh, there was some aspect that was creating waves, and those waves were dealing inappropriate amounts of damage. So, not intended, let's put it this way. So now this is fixed, and the holy bar is going down. First nerf, checked. Another one is this, I believe, Rob did. Stacking these aspects together was doing unbelievable amounts of damage, which resulted in millions and trillions of bleed damage on the barbarian. Now this is done, and there's no more bleed exploits here. But yeah, this is fixed. There is a developer note. They're saying that they recognize the Hammer of the Ancient nerf, and they say that this is required for the game to be healthy. And they're using this phrase. They're not saying this exact words here, but they're using this phrase a lot. The game to be healthy in the long term and whatever, you'll see later on. Druid fixes. So tornado aspect, where is it? This one, the storm chaser, apparently wasn't doing damage every time. So they fixed that. So this is a buff for tornadoes, apparently. Shred is nerfed. Similar to the barbarian stuff here, where these aspects stacking together were doing enormous amounts of damage. There was a similar poison shred druid build, werewolf build, where it was doing 50 million damage over time with their poison, it was one-shotting Uber Lilith. I saw that it was one-shotting Uber Lilith, so that's fixed again, and it's a nerf apparently. But when it's there, yeah, this one. Apparently it was the tornado aspect that is working with shred, allowing it to do extreme amount of damage. I don't know how exactly, but that was a situation which is resolved. I don't believe there's something else very significant with the druid. Overall, they're fixing some bugs where the tooltip is saying, or you're assuming that something is working properly when you're reading the text in the game, but apparently not everything was working that way. That's intended. So now they're fixing some stuff. You can read it yourself if you will. The necromancer, what I've read Yes, so there was the situation with the Bone Spear where if you're fighting an elite that has this effect, Chilling Wind, there is a big wall that can chill you if you stay near it. And once you throw your Bone Spear through the wall, they're doing a ton of explosions and accumulating a lot of damage. That's fixed. So Bone Spear nerf 1 checked. Also there was some erratic movement issue with the Bone Spear. I don't know. I don't understand that. I've played Bone Spear a lot. I haven't seen such shenanigan, whatever. And some fixed with the Blood Mist one. If you know when you trigger it after a second or something, you can click the button again and get out of the Blood Mist. So once you do that, it was once you cancel the Blood Mist, it was recasting. Apparently, I haven't experienced that as well, or I don't know if I did. Probably it was happening to me as well, but okay. Anyways, those are the bug changes. Those are only bugs. Don't keep that in mind. Only bugs. Another bugs here for the rogue. Something that is important. There are no nerfs. Apparently, the rogue was working the best. Of all the classes, there aren't any exploits on rogue that have been found so far. So this is very nice. And most of the things are just, for example, twisting blades weren't coming back when you're killing these types of enemies. Now they are those types of bugs. I mean, nothing really crazy here. About the Sork, so this one combustion is saying you have burning effect dealing times amount of damage per unique source of burning, which means you're stacking different burning skills. And apparently that wasn't working with Firebolt enchantment, which is the best source of burning in the sorcerer's skill tree. So now it's working. Apparently they fixed it. Another one which apparently was doing some problems. Align the elements, very good defensive passive for the Stork. We need more from this. It was apparently resetting, now it's not. Okay. Deep Freeze and Ice Shards. So there was the Ice Shard enchantment is automatically triggering Ice Shards when there are frozen enemies. So once you freeze an enemy, with skill on your skill bar or whatever, some kind of effect, you freeze an enemy and Ice Shards start flying towards this enemy and hitting them when they're frozen. But the deep freeze wasn't, it is freezing enemies, but apparently it wasn't working with Ice Shards. Now it is. And those kind of fixes. Oh, there was an exploit with the control glyph. As you can see, it was stacking 3 times for staggered bosses, which means 35 and 35 and 35. It's above 100% damage, so now it's not happening. And what else? Oh, there was a incinerate issue. Apparently, the whole queue is an issue itself, but it was taking you a mana, 30 cost mana, and once you start channeling it, it's taking more, because it's a channel skill, it's taking more mana. Now it's only taking mana once you're channeling it, no starting cost. It was unintended. Okay. So general bug fixes, I don't know. Oh yeah, there is one important here, this one here and this one here. It's about the cold enchantment and about the crowd control overall in the game. If you have played higher tiers of Nightmare Dungeons or overall in World Tier 3 or 4, the cold enchantment on the elites was ridiculous, man. You see a cold enchanted elite, you're trying to kill it as much as possible and stay far away from him as much as possible. Because it's hitting you, you're frozen. And a whole group of enemies attacking you, you're dead. They were freezing you immediately. And also apparently those other affixes on the elites, and yeah, only elites can have those kind of affixes, and champion monsters, I believe. But no, champions can't. Anyways, enemies with those affixes also were freezing you, which was ridiculous. So now it's apparently fixed. Let's see how this is working. I pray for less crowd control because it's really ridiculous to losing control of your character, and you can't dodge that. You just can't. Call enchanters. You see one, it's attacking you so fast. I don't know, do they have bonus attack speed or bonus movement speed or whatever they have? They see you before you're even recognizing the situation. You're just moving around. Oh, you see a monster group. Oh, they are an elite, and immediately you're frozen. And oh, there's the code enchanted. So yeah, they were very ridiculously powerful. Now they tuned it down. I hope this is very helpful. Helltides and Fields of Hatred stuff. I mean, nothing really crazy here. Something that I've noticed, there was apparently an issue where the crackling energy, this is sorcerer stuff, could hit other players in a Fields of Hatred town. So you're staying in town with your Sork, or it doesn't matter, you're staying in town in the Fields of Hatred and something sticking you. And you're, what? I'm in town, and you see a sorcerer's crackling energy hitting you from our way, and you're, what? I mean, I haven't noticed this, I'm not playing PvP at all, but what is the response from Blizzard? We know, shocking, right? That's funny, at least something funny in this patch notes, because they're not funny at all. But anyways, okay, it's just, that was just for fun here. It's not important at all, for me at least, but apparently it's important for the health of the game, and I'm happy that they're taking measures for everything that they see. Items and aspects. So another funny one. Apparently there was something wrong with the Ring of Scarlet Skies, and if you know that this is one of the 6 Uber uniques that is very hard to be found. And how on earth there is a problem with the Uber unique? How? That's ridiculous. I mean, you're winning the lottery and they're saying, oh, sorry, but those money are not on our disposal, we can't give it to you. What? Okay, anyways, they fixed the problem. Another thing, what is this? This was triggering when you're throwing breakables, whatever. I haven't seen this ring at all, but they fixed the stats. Okay. Important thing here is, oh yeah, so one is, where is it? Where is it? I want to see it. This is another thing stacking here. Yeah, this one. So fixed an issue where aspect power would also increase when upgrading an item at the blacksmith. So this is a situation with the Blizzard sorceress, which was actually not a Blizzard sorceress. It was an Ice Spikes sorceress. And essentially you're spawning ice spikes with the Blizzard and they were doing the damage, and people were using this aspect because it has a flat damage power, and that power was stacking with the upgrades. When you use the blacksmith upgrades, it was powering up. So now it's fixed, no more exploits in this area. Another very important thing now, the sacred and the ancestral items have cap. Level 64 sacred, level 84 ancestrals. You know, actually the level of the item doesn't matter. The item power is important, and it's not connected with the level, so that's great that we can use these items after all. Okay. Fixed an issue where the Mother's Embrace unique ring did not trigger properly with several abilities. Okay, thanks God. Nobody's using this because it's not enough. I mean, you're losing vulnerable damage and you're losing critical strike chance. The luck hit and the overpower and the all stats are there just okay, but they're not that important on rings, and that is why this ring is not used. But it's fine ring. I've tried it. I didn't knew that it wasn't working, but probably that was the reason when I used it on my necro and it wasn't my necromancer assassin was always down. I was trying bone spear without a generator. Okay, some monsters fixes here. The most important fix is, there are actually two, I believe. So one is This one, fix an issue where items of higher power than intended were dropping from rare monsters. So if you heard that, there were cases that people were able to find items with 820 higher than 820 item power, around 835 to 840, whatever. And apparently that wasn't intended from Blizzard, and now it's fixed. So that's good. Also, another good change here is about the suppressor ethics of the elites. 1 second, I will mark this. Here it is. And for example, the Whirlwind Barbarian, when starting to channel Whirlwind from inside and going while whirlwinding inside the bubble of the suppressor, it wasn't taking damage. The monster itself was immune. Now it's fixed. But the suppressor ethics itself is very ridiculous. Also, apparently it was spawning on monsters around. I've seen that. You see 3-4 suppressors with a Bone Spear Necromancer. I was like, oh shit, that's gonna be hard. But yeah, I mean, they fixed that. Only one suppressor now. Only the main guy. And also, this ethics, as I remember somewhere, it was said that it was spawning on breakable objects as well. That's ridiculous. However, those are the changes, the most important changes in this area here, these aspects. A lot of quest and event changes. I don't believe there is something important in here. User interface and user experience. Overall map changes, tooltips, saying proper stuff right now, giving you proper information. That's important. Also, if you know, the map wasn't I call it the GPS of the map isn't working properly at some locations. I hope that they've changed and they fixed all of these. Also, the comparison numbers of the items, if you're using the tooltip to compare your items, and it has green text or red text for telling you this is better, this is not good. Actually, it's not that simple. But if you had gems in those items, it was bugging and it was stacking the gems and whatever, some shenanigans, it's fixed. Okay, so it's more reliable at least right now, but not perfect. Let's see, nothing so crazy here. Here, apparently, there was a problem sending friend requests through Battle.net to console players. Okay, thank you for the information. There were problems with higher tier party. I mean, you're level 1 tier 1 character, world tier 1, and someone from world tier 4 invites you and powers you up. That's not a deal, not a thing anymore. So basically those are the most important stuff here, some music stuff and some sound things that are not that important in this state of the game. Loading screen updates, we're gonna see more stuff in our loading screens. Thank you. So okay, I'm not gonna lose time to comment on that. Gameplay updates. Here, this is very interesting, of course. Altars of Lilith unlocks are now account wide. Thank you. Also, map discovery is now account wide. Thank you. So once you have discovered everything, if you've done it also in the preseason, post season, actually, I don't know, whatever, season 0, you have all of your for example, I have that, you have all of your altars, you have discovered all of your map, but I've done it only on my Necromancer, which was my main character, and nothing on my alts. I haven't tried this, by the way, but I'll try it after the video. And now you unlock everything on one character and it's spread around every other character on your account. That's perfect. Okay, this is bad for me. No more sigil dust. This is the material that we use to craft nightmare sigils from the whispers. I also I found myself lacking this material, but yeah, okay. Either way, I was destroying sigils so I can craft different ones. Yeah. Another thing here, overall loot quality has been significantly improved for silent chests. So the silent chests are the ones with the keys that you can you can buy essentially a key from the gambler with your oboes. So now these keys are slightly more viable, let's say. The channel time for the living dungeon ability has been increased to 5 seconds. That's meh. So essentially this is nerfing replayability of one dungeon over and over and over again. I mean, it can be done, but you're waiting more time. I don't know why is it happening. And playing hardcore as well, I guess it's a bad thing to wait more shit stuff. We have generally reduced the tendency for many monsters to move around in combat so that melee characters don't have to chase down their enemies as much. Okay, that's fine. And now PS5 DualShock controller is working with PS. Cool. So these were important, but as slower as we go to the patch notes, as important as stuff starts to happen. So first, the very interesting changes. World tier changes. The world tier 2 got buffed a little bit, so now it gives 20% more gold. Previously it was 15, and now monsters drop 15% more items. Okay, it's not viable still. Probably it's better to play on world tier 1 when you're starting. But Blizzard apparently like where world tier 2 is landed so far, which means you only activate it when you're doing your capstone dungeon for world tier 3, and that's all. So around 15 to 30 minutes, it depends how long it takes you to complete the capstone. Let's see now. Leveling scaling. This is very important. So if you remember, the strategy so far of leveling was kill monsters 3 level above you, because there was this instance here where one level higher monster than you is giving you more experience, 50%, then 2 levels is 20%, and 3 levels is 25%. Okay, so first thing now is that the monster scaling, because a lot of people were complaining about the monster scaling because they're not feeling their characters powerful enough, which was actually a thing. Really, it was a thing a little bit, but it wasn't that big of a problem. I mean, now the monsters are gonna be weaker, and this means that we're gonna have tougher time to find higher level monsters than us, first thing. But actually, if you go to a higher level zone, still you will be able to fight higher level monsters, but keep that in mind. It's Blizzard thought about that as well. But essentially what is gonna happen is now, for example, in World Tier 3 you're starting and your character is below 55. So this is gonna be most of the cases because your capstone is at 50. Players are trying to do it as early as possible, 55, 45 or 47, or I guess at Season 1 we're gonna do it at 50, but anyways. So you're starting at 50 and monsters are 55. Okay, so once you're 56 to 60, monsters are still at 55. And at 61, monsters are 56. At 62, monsters are 57. So there is a 5 level difference between the monsters and you in your advantage. Which means the content in the world, in the open world, this is only for the open world, it's scaling downwards. I mean, you're more powerful than the monsters. And as you can see here, these changes does not affect world bosses, legion events, fields of hatred, helltides, or nightmare dungeons. So these are the events that are actually level capped. I mean, they have some level requirement. Also not helltides, strongholds, they all, and other regions, they start at a specific level. So if you're below that specific level, you can go there and fight higher level monsters. That's gonna be very important in leveling, I guess. But the other really significant change here, it's more important than that, that the XP values are dropped down significantly. So big experience nerfs. So the leveling process is gonna be even more painful now. fighting higher level monsters is just not that important anymore. So this is pre-season and this is post-season. So pre-season, those are the values we were targeting 3 level higher monsters than us. And after this 25 experience bonus, the value was dropping down because essentially the monsters were getting harder and harder to kill and taking more time despite this 25% bonus XP. Now the experience bonus for 1 level is 1.5. So they took this value and put it a point between the 1 and the 5. Bad stuff, huh? Ridiculously big nerf. And the 15% are gonna be at level 10 monsters above. And fighting 10 level monsters above you, especially when you're so weak in the beginning, it's gonna be close to impossible for some people. Especially for casual players, it's gonna be a no-go at that. Also, they nerfed power level. How was it called? Power leveling, essentially. Party play. So currently, those are the values. And for example, you have a level 1 character, or level 10 character, doesn't matter. You're at world tier 4 already because somebody did the capstone dungeons for you. And that somebody is leveling you in the nightmare dungeons. And for example, they're fighting level 100 monsters. And you are getting 100 monsters, as you can see here. Level 100 monsters experience multiplied plus 1 multiplied by 1 plus 25%, which was 25% was the value of higher level monsters, which means, yeah, they're always higher level than you if you're power leveled. But after the changes, they've done something else. The monsters experience scales from your own level, which means if you're level, let's say you're level 11 or whatever here, yeah, you're getting level monsters plus the experience. No, this is if you're in level 100 monsters. Let's go slowly from this. We're changing this to from this. So world tier 2 is up to +3. World tier 3 is up to +10. And world tier 4 is up to +100. So this is the monster level, which is multiplied by your bonus experience. And now it's +3 unchanged. This is +6 and this is +10. So if you're level 1, you're getting value from, and the monsters are above these 10 levels and whatever, you're getting this thing here. So level 100 monsters and you're level 1, you're getting 11 monster XP plus 15% because they changed this as well. So the power leveling is dropped a lot. This is a big nerf. Big nerf to leveling, big nerf to power leveling, big nerf to party play as well. You'll see down. But yeah, I mean, big nerfs. Okay, let's continue. Helltide. Monsters are now 3 levels higher than you and not 2. That's good change, because if you're doing Helltides, you're powerful enough to maintain the monster damage, I hope. And the 3 levels means you're getting maximum experience value, which is good. So doing Helltides is even more important now. And the bad part of that is mysterious chests no longer cost 175 cinders, they cost 250 cinders. And if you want to open all of the 4 chests, if you have the ability to do so, because they're spawning 2, but at fixed time, for example 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, they're gonna shift. And if the Helltide is still up and you have time to grind these cinders, you can open another chests that are respawned. So 4 chests means 1000 cinders, which is very much. And the good thing here is that all of the objectives can give you cinders now. I mean, I believe there was a chance before, but not from every object. Now every object has a small chance to give you a cinder, which is a nice slight change that can help us build this ridiculous amount of cinders. Okay. So those were the good news. We start diving in worse and worse news, but the balancing is not the worst thing, so don't worry, we're still far from the worst. Okay, let's see the developer note. As our community continues to battle the burning hells, the builds emerging from new players have shocked and delighted us. Okay, we've chosen to focus Season of the Malignance balance updates on clear itemization disparities, okay, over redesigning of class features. So basically they're saying that they're changing items and items values over the class redesigning or anything. So the most class changes that you're gonna see are buffs, mainly. I say mainly. There are a few nerfs. And the class changes are largely focused on numeric increases to skill upgrades and legendary aspects that players haven't yet found completely. So the ones, as I told before, the things that we were using so far and the top tier items, skills and builds and whatever, they're gonna be put down a little, and Blizzard are trying to make things that we weren't using that much to emerge, or at least to be slightly closer, which has some logic, and that was getting me that got me wondered with the puncture, because the puncture was one of those skills that everybody uses on Rogue. Why is it getting buffed? But anyways, so where was I with this text? Yeah, increasing skill and legendary aspects that players haven't found yet completely. Additionally, we've changed critical strike damage paragon glyphs to empower all damage. This is good, by the way. This is very nice change, instead of only core skills. So if you played the paragon system, for every character there is a specific glyph that is buffing your critical strike damages, but only with core skills. Now the core skill thing is removed and it's buffing all of your critical damage, all of your skills. So that's nice. To enable more build strategies. Okay, build diversity here, that's fine. That, I mean, this is good change. Overall, I hoped for more of those, honestly. There are also a few class stat decreases on sources which grant extreme amounts of damage, healing, or unstoppable. Okay, we're getting there now, as you can see. In general, we preferred build-specific changes to be bonuses instead of decreases, okay? But we feel these changes are necessary for the overall health of the game, okay? So overall health of the game is important here, because I saw this in few places here and there. Anyways, Diablo 4 is a game that is continually evolving through its seasons. Thus, the adjustments we make will evolve with them. Okay, so we are waiting for the next season. This one is... I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, so let's start with the Barbarian. Let me see now. What have I written here? We have changed for mainly those are buffs, as I said. But there is a nerf for this one here. So power charge. This is one of the upgrades of charge. Cooldown reduction is now capped to 3 targets. And for maximum of 9 seconds. They capped this because people were going to charge. Well, that's not happening anymore. Let's see now. Fury gains increased. Okay, so more fury from ground stomp. More bonus damage to bosses from dead blow. Vulnerable duration. Those are helpful things. One thing that I noticed, they're trying to merge this rapture build. Again, they nerfed bleed stuff, but it was a bug, and they're trying to erupt the Rapture build for some reason. And look at this now. The Rapture skill, I tried it, it's very annoying. I mean, you're going and poking something and it stays for a second still because it's bleeding. The spear is in his stomach or something, the monster, I mean. It's, at least that's on my mind. I tried it on the beta, I haven't played it since then. I'm not sure, the Barbarian is the least played class for me, so I'm not very competent here, but the one thing that I know is this passive was used almost in every build, and now it's absolutely destroyed from Blizzard. This is previously what the passive was doing. Your bleeding affects slow enemies by 10%. And there was one specialization that you were able to use and make every enemy that you attack bleeding with every attack. And you have bleeding with every attack. That means every attack slows enemies, and that means every enemy is crowd controlled. Okay, so now it's only slowing healthy enemies, which means once the enemies are under 80% of their health, they're not healthy anymore, and this debuff is not applying. And also, they're increasing the slow amount, so it's not 30% or 10% or whatever, it's now doubled, whatever. I mean, if you're not one-shotting enemies, this is not great. Okay, cut to the bone, another passive, bleeding damage bones to vulnerable. Okay, so this is nerfed. Apparently this was another passive that people were using to do more vulnerable damage to bleeding enemies, and now it's nerfed. Cool. This is the rat glyph, as I mentioned. This is the paragon glyph that is used for by all skills now, not only core skills. There are some buffs to the aspects. I don't believe there are any nerfs here. Let me see. Yeah, basically everything is buffed here. All of these aspects have higher value now. They didn't change how the aspect work, they just tune up the numbers. A little bit buffed to the gores, but people are saying that it's still not good enough. I don't know, I haven't tried it. And every class have buffs to their some of their uniques. Okay, so those are the barb changes. Now, so let's overall say about the barb. Hammer of the Ancients nerfed. Stacking bleed damage and doing enormous amounts of damage nerfed. Blizzard trying to make a Rupture viable and charge, but they did both nerf charge anyways, and buffing some other non-usable skills like double swing, upheaval, ground stomp, dead blow, steel grasp, and yeah, and nerfing the best barbarian passive so far, and this one apparently was one of them as well, and buffing some aspects. Okay, gores, whatever. So barbarian for starter of the season, me not think so. Let's continue with the druid. So the druid actually got away mainly, but with one significant thing that we need to mention here is Grizzly Rage is now not permanently unstoppable. This is the effect of the skill that was previously before the patch. You're unstoppable while Grizzly Rage is active, and people were exploiting this, and basically the idea of the Tornado Druid build was to have up to 100% uptime on Grizzly Rage, so because of this unstoppable. And not only, but that was one of the big reasons. And now it grants unstoppable only for 6 seconds, which is not that great, but at least it's not nerfing the damage of the skills or whatever. It's just giving us less unstoppable, which I guess can be annoying, but is a thing that people are gonna be happy that the druid is getting rid of a lot of nerfs, I guess. No, there are not any nerfs for the druid. This is another thing that is nerfed. All of these are buffed instead of the Primal Grizzly Rage and this masochistic whatever. Now also requires lucky hit chance, so critical strikes with shape-shifting skills heal you for 3% maximum life. And now this effect to be triggered is required 75% lucky hit chance. That's not good. But it's still we're going to be viable at some point, I guess, so it's just not gonna be early game anymore. Or it's gonna be very late in the end game. And another glyph buff again, Spirit Soul Rat for the Barbarian, Spirit for the Druid. There are some buffs here. I don't believe there are any nerfs. Yeah, this is a buff as well. It's the cooldown is more, essentially. Oh no, it's a nerf. It's a nerf. This is a nerf of the cooldown. Okay, so 3 nerfs overall for the Druid, and they're trying to buff these. I mean, plus rank, plus 3 to werebear skills, plus 3 to werewolf skills. This can be very good actually, I'm thinking, and see the stats on the item itself. Physical damage, poison damage, damage reduction. Oh, I have drivers available, cool. Damage reduction from poisoned and movement speed. Yeah, this movement speed is a little bit meh, but the others, pay attention to those, especially the physical and the poison damage. Later on, we're gonna see that they're buffing these, and this is the big bucket of additive damage. But they're buffing the additive damage and nerfing. I'll stop here. But this plus 3 to ranks is very powerful. So I guess yeah, they're trying to buff these as well. But the Druid overall, I think, is one of the best starters, in my opinion, and I think of starting a Druid. The other one is the Rock. We'll see why. Necro. So the Necro, basically, they buff Bloodlance. Oh no, actually, they're giving you things for Bloodlance, and they're trying to immerse the Bloodlance build. But there is a damage reduction from piercing reduced. So let me see. Bloodlance pierces true enemies who are currently lanced, dealing 50% reduced damage. Oh, actually, this is a buff. Now the Bloodlance was doing 50% less damage. Now it's doing it 10% less damage. So this is a buff. Sorry. My bad here. And what else? Something more significant with the Necro. Of course, Evolution passive got nerfed. Splintering aspect got nerfed. Corpse Tender aspect. Let's see now. So this is the Bone Spear Necro passive, doing damage to vulnerable enemies. It was 6, 12, 18 when you upgraded, and everybody was trying to get this on their amulet plus 3. Now it's 15. So big nerf of damage, and the biggest of the nerfs here. There we go. So 3-4 nerfs for the Bone Spear from this patch. Oh, there is one buff actually, Deathless Visage. That's interesting. I didn't expect a buff for Deathless Visage. But anyways, look at this. Damage bonus reduced from 50 to 100, from 50-100% to 30-60%. Okay, but they're buffing stuff. Okay, let's see. This is a buff. Bone Prison Blight damage buffed. Okay, very viable. Actually, it's not that bad, but playing Bone Prison is a little bit clunky and slow. Buff for Cold Mages, buff for Bloodlance. I think the Bloodlance build is gonna be the contender to go next to Bone Spear. Because the Bone Spear, I guess, is still the best build for the Necromancer, but the Bloodlance is gonna be up there as well. This is a buff for Blood Mist, Bloodseeker here. Bloodsucker, sorry. What else? Where is? I'm searching at this one. This got ripped apart. Critical strike damage bonus reduced from 3060 to 2040. Oof. That's bad. That's very bad. but at least they're not nerfing the crit chance, only the crit damage. But yeah, they nerfed the crit damage of the Necromancer and the damage to vulnerable, but also they nerfed crits and vulnerable throughout the board for every class. So yeah, I mean, that's bad. But those are the notes for the Necromancer. They're trying to use to make us use that. I don't know why. I mean, this is darkness kills, damage to shield, damage to frozen. I mean, I can use every possible Necromancer unique item, and I'm just gonna die. Not gonna do enough damage. Not gonna be able to survive at all. This one and the buff 2 to 5 from 2 to 5 to 7-10 the essence gain. I mean, what? You're using this for essence gain? Really? Why? Anyways, let's see the rogue. So, the Necro for season start, I forgot. I don't believe it's good. I mean, it's somewhere in between, but the rogue is better and the druid is better for starters. The bard for me is bottle the worst class for starts, and necro is somewhere in between, I guess. Let's see the rogue here. So the rogue, basically the rogue has less exploits in their build. No, not any bugs found, I guess. So basically all these are balancing stuff, giving some more damage, some more percentages here and there. The only nerf is similar to the druid healing boon passive. This is a passive for where is it? This one. So this is a passive for the rogue, and it says healing for 1% of your maximum life when you critically strike close enemies, similar to the druid one. And as well, this one requires 75% lucky hit chance now. So that's not great. So they're dropping down the healing, the defenses, and they're buffing the damage. And not the correct damage. They're dropping the most important damage buckets. The critical strike damage and the vulnerability. I can't wait to speak about that, apparently. Because I'm mentioning this for the third time and I'm still not there. So basically, yeah, the rogue hasn't got nerfs in except this thing here, but otherwise it's pretty good. In not many changes. As I said, they're trying to make these viable. I don't see how this is happening. And the last class that we're gonna speak about, I mean, bards, storks, and necros need, and yeah, necros are almost good, almost, but the sorcerers and the barbarians need a lot of help, especially the sorcerers. I mean, the bards still, yeah, they got nerfed and nerfed and nerfed and nerfed, but I guess this is because they're good overall. I mean, they're tanky. The problem with the barb is that they're clunky and it's hard to fight the monsters. Every attack makes some amount of damage. Yeah, they're good amounts of damage, but you're hitting damage. Big attack, 5 enemies dead, and after that hitting 1 enemy damage. And yeah, I mean, melee class. The sorcerer has different problems. I mean, the sorcerer is doing damage. It's dealing with big groups of enemies. It can deal with single targets, but it has very big problems against bosses. And there are 2 reasons for that. And the main reason is they're doing most of their damage through crowd control. I mean, and I guess Blizzard nerfed the crowd control damage overall, damage against crowd controls. So this is nerfing the sorcerer even further. That's ridiculous. And the other thing is that they have very hard time applying vulnerable damage. The barbarian doesn't have this problem. I mean, yeah, it's nerfing their damage to crowd controlled enemies, but that's not the only source of damage, I guess, for the barbarian. I haven't played the barb that much, but I've played the sorcerer. And the sorcerer, I mean, to have a viable Stork build, you need to use Flame Shield. You need to use for sure Ice, Frost Nova for the vulnerable. The Flame Shield is giving you movement speed, is giving you unstoppable, it's giving you damage, not damage reduction, not sure, but movement speed and mana cost, I guess. So the Flame Shield is very good. The Ice, the Frost Nova is very good. And what else? They were using burning enchantments and stuff to do more damage through the Devouring Blaze. And big surprise, Devouring Blaze, tremendous nerf. Look at this. Look at this for Devouring Blaze critical damage. It got ripped apart. Ripped apart. There is no more Devouring Blaze. I mean, yeah, you can use this in early game with some fire builds. Flame, not flame, firewall, for example. That's all. Oh no, sorry, you can't use this with firewall because it's damage over time, and damage over time is not critting. But you can use it with fireball. But the fireball, it got some buffs, but the fireball is not that great. I want to try fireball Sorg, but yeah, it's not great. Let me see what I've written here for the Sorg. I don't want to miss something. Yeah, so massive nerf for Devouring Blaze. Yeah, massive nerf for Ice Spikes, as I said. No, actually it's not that massive, but there is a nerf to Ice Spikes. So there it is. This is the power that is making Blizzard Sorcerers work. And the thing that is happening here is, as you can see, there is a segment, the bottom of the power. It says your Ice Spikes deal 25% multiplied increased damage to frozen enemies, and now this percentage is reduced to 15. I didn't even try the Blizzard Stork because I didn't have enough gold to respect, and I wanted to respect my Bone Spear Necro as well, and I didn't have enough gold to respect everything, and I didn't have enough gold to play all the classes. I didn't have enough space to keep all of the items that I want to keep so I can try different builds. I mean, I wasn't thinking about all of these complaints that I throw forward right now, but they just came from inside. I mean, those are just simple stuff that are missing from the game. There is some build diversity, but you can't try all the builds. Yeah, that's a little bit bad, but I guess this is gonna change in the future. But for now, and also I don't see any changes for vulnerable damage. I mean, the only good sources of vulnerable damage for the Stork. Oh, I forgot about the defensive skills. Yeah, I forgot about the teleport. You're always using the teleport. I mean, there is no question. You're always using the teleport. It's movement speed. No, it's movement ability. A lot of mobility. It's also unstoppable, and it's also damage reduction. You can't skip the teleport. You can't skip the flame shield, and also you can't skip the frost nova if you want to do. If you want to do a reliable vulnerable damage, apply vulnerable damage reliably. Otherwise, you're just vulnerable here, vulnerable there is the situation. And this sucks, honestly. This sucks because it takes 3 spots on your bar, which can be filled with different skills, different playstyles. I mean, I think that Blizzard are trying to make us do different builds. I mean, don't rely on vulnerable that much. Don't rely on crits that much and do more dot builds. And don't rely on unstoppable that much. But about the unstoppable part, I mean, make the crowd controls not that painful, and probably we will try not to take that much unstoppable. So yeah, those are interesting topics here, and I don't see any other ways that the sorcerer can apply vulnerable than through frost skills. The other skills are just not applying vulnerable. And the vulnerable, yeah, they tune it down. Let's see, we'll see how this works out. But okay, those are the things that were changed for the classes. Those are all buffs instead of the ice spike bonus to frozen. Other things are buffed, and Yeah, there is some change for the fireball now. It's doing more damage essentially, because yeah, this item was giving you penalty for the firebolts, and now the penalty is less. So okay. This is increased damage. This is, what is this, chance to spawn lightning nova. I mean, these uniques, this is probably one of the usable uniques, but of course this damage penalty is ridiculous. Okay, so let's see the general aspects here. It's very painful, but the disobedience aspect got ripped apart. I don't know why did they nerf this one. I mean, this was very nice. And again, less damage to crowd controls, to crowd controlled enemies. I mean, they're trying to nerf this idea of players stacking damage to crowd controls and crowd controlling enemies, so they can take less damage and they can do more damage to them. This idea of playing around the stun effects. Why? I mean, the monsters are very dangerous so far in the game. They're gonna become even more dangerous, and you're taking away one of the mechanics that we were able to be safer when we approach those monsters. I mean, why? Why? Or at least it's gonna be tougher to apply these. They're not useless, but I mean, the duration. Look at this. The damage is tuned down doubled. I lost my words here. Okay, what is this now? You have 20% additive increased crowd control duration. While enemies are unstoppable, you deal more damage, more increased damage against them. So again, crowd control, bonus damage to unstoppable reduced. Again, well, this is slightly less because people were not using this one that much, but... And they're increasing the resource cost when you're missing life. So apparently Blizzard expects us to miss a lot of life during this season, and they're saying, okay, use this aspect, it's gonna give you at least more resources. Well, imagine I'm missing all of my life, but my resources are full. Cool stuff. Of course I'm kidding, but yeah, there is a notion that I'm not feeling that positive about this patch, honestly. And we're not even on the worst part. I've mentioned it a few times, but you see yourself. Okay, why are we getting this? So they're taking away one of the best crowd control aspects here, and they're nerfing two of the best crowd control aspects, and they're giving us increased percentage in the lower row. Keep that in mind. Look at this. It's only the lower row of the Butcher's Cleaver. So now it's gonna... What is it? When you critically strike an enemy, you have up to 100% chance to fear or slow them by... Okay. So this is the percentages that the enemies are slowed. And why on earth I want to fear enemies? No, they're making us use stuff that we don't want to use. That is the whole thing. Yeah, it basically said, but yeah, it's not that great, honestly. Increased bonus to drop ancestral sacred items in nightmare dungeons from 5 to 10%. So we're getting more ancestral and sacred. Well, I'm getting a lot of these anyways. I don't want more, honestly. But yeah, Blizzard think that we need more from nightmare dungeons, especially. So one run of nightmare dungeons, they're I believe trying to get away the grind from us, but we're grinding so we can get more powerful faster, we can get more level 100, we can get more items, and now you're getting a level 100 slower, as we saw up on the patch, and also you need to go well, you're getting less XP, and also you need to go slower because you need to get rid of all of your items. So you have free inventory, and already players were complaining that they don't have space. Okay. What is this now? Remove a 20% chance to drop an extra equipment item from elite monsters outside of Nightmare Dungeons and Hell Tides. Why? I mean, they're not dropping that many crazy items anyways. Why? Okay, increased chance to drop an extra equipment items. Okay, so they're giving this back. They took this 20% and they're giving it to Nightmare Dungeons and Hell Tides. What? Wait. So first they remove 20% chance from elite monsters outside of Nightmare Dungeons and Helltide. And they increase chance to drop an extra equipment item from elite monsters in Nightmare Dungeons and Helltide. So basically the Helltide got minus 10% and the Nightmare Dungeons got plus 20, plus 10. But yeah, this is essentially more items in the end game. And Nightmare Dungeons now have 50% chance to drop second legendary item upon completion. And now Nightmare Dungeons give you 3 rare items upon completing. Why? 3 rare items. I want legendary items. I want unique items. I don't want rare items that much. Well, okay, but anyways, they're saying rare. That means sacred and ancestral as well. And I want higher item power. Yeah, people were taking some sacred items and playing very high level content with a few sacred items because they were rolled very highly. And they were some close to the ancestral legend item power. Anyways, 725 above. Well, this is not a good idea now because you need the whole lot of armor rolls, and you need every armor possible in the game. You need the highest item power items you ever get to get all of this armor that you need to even try and exit the town. Well, that was a little bit hard for me, but yeah, that's how I feel sometimes when I read this. That's how I felt overall when I'm reading and wrote this before the patch. It's okay. Increased monster experience scaling from 85 to 100% XP, no XP, HP. Bonus per extra player in party. So nerfing party play, as I said. And some miscellaneous here. Oh, yeah, they improved the greed shrine. This is the gold shrine. Oh, why? Just get rid of this. It's not useless. It's useless essentially. This is the worst shrine for me. I don't like it at all. I've said it multiple times on my stream. Okay, world bosses now drop more potions, whatever. There is no longer a limit to how many materials. Okay, this is quality of life. So there are no cap of the materials that we can get. Cool, but I can't cap them anyways. I've capped only 1 material so far. Okay, and there is the part that we all gonna cry about. So far everything was but once you take this part and compare it to the other part and or add it or whatever, take everything in your mind, and that's written here. I have never seen worse patch than this one. This is, let's start reading. Developer note: many affixes are too efficient and are outshining alternatives. We're looking to refine the outliers, improve the number of meaningful choices on competitive slots. So meaningful choice on competitive slots, keep that in mind. And increase the overall flexibility of items. Oh no, shit. They're flexible enough for me. I don't need more flexibility. Okay, we know these changes will reduce the total amount of possible power a character can process. Oh no, process, okay. So we'll be monitoring how these changes affect players' ability to conquer expected milestones throughout the season. I guess we're playing to level 50 as and yeah, no, that was a joke. Bad try for a joke, but anyways, There it is. Let's start with, we're increasing the availability of an affixes below to make them easier to include in different builds. Throughout, control impaired duration reduction can also appear on pants. Okay. So this is the affix that is giving you less CC. When you're crowd controlled, you're less crowd controlled. So Blizzard are not gonna take action against the crowd control in the game. Okay, we're stacking a lot of crowd control. They took our unstoppable a little bit, so less unstoppable. You'll see why actually. But barrier generation now can appear on all classes and also dropping later in the game. It will also begin dropping later in the game. What? So the barrier is gonna drop. It's not gonna be that good or what? Or just on items with this affix are gonna start dropping. Oh, probably. Yeah. Okay, lucky hit chance while you have a barrier. Cool. So those are things that mainly Sorcerer had, especially this one. This was only Sorcerer. Yeah, can now appear for all classes, but reduced by 12% when on helmet and 20% when on amulet or offhand. So where exactly I can roll this? If I want it. We were rolling this on an offhand for a Sorc. Where to roll it now? Where it can be better. I believe they reduced it everywhere, but on helmets it's preferred, so because it's not that bad of a nerf. So yeah. Okay, first nerf. Let's continue. Mastery skills damage newly added can appear on sorcerer's weapon skills identically to core skills. Okay, so mastery and core skills for sorcerer are gonna be close. So the mastery skills are the blizzard, the meteor. There was a lightning spear or something like that. Ball lightning, I think, was a mastery skill. Something those skills. No, lightning spear was a conjuration one. Well, anyways, those are the mastery skills, so they're gonna be considered close to the core skills for the Sorc. That's actually the cool change. I like this. And resistances to all elements can now appear on shields. Well, thank you. The core stat the core stat bonus on weapons has been overperforming. Oh my god, no. So we're pulling back this bonus. Okay, so let's see now. 50% stronger when on weapons. Now it's 25% stronger when on weapons. This is for all main stats for characters. So I need to see. I had 189 intelligence on my two-handed sight for the necromancer. I want to see how much intelligence do I have now. 75. You never. No, around 100 probably. 120, 10, something like that. But that's bad. Nerfing the damage significantly. Another one. Cooldown reduction affixes often felt mandatory due to their raw power. We imagine cooldown reduction will remain a highly desirable stat, but the penalty for not prioritizing it won't be as harsh. Wait, what? So they're saying that the cooldown is still gonna be important, but they felt that it's very powerful, and they're apparently tuning it down because if they think it's powerful, they think it's gonna be still important, and the penalty for not prioritizing it not gonna be that harsh. I got a little bit confused right now, but let's see. Cooldown reduction 30%. Cooldown reduction for imbuement skills 30%. Trap skills 30%. So our cooldowns mean less. That is what they meant. It's not gonna be that harsh, I guess. Because it's nerfed with 30% overall, so we won't be able to spam our skills that freely. And either you prioritize cooldown or not, it's still not gonna be that helpful, and you still won't be able spam your to reset your skills essentially on cooldown. That's how I get it. Let's see how it's gonna be. But when you see these things without testing them, they look very bad for the experience of the player. Because in an ARPG, you want to feel powerful. You want to smash. You want to use your abilities non-stop. You want to be the god of the universe. I mean, at least this is my feeling, and that is why I like Diablo 3, for example, because this is the situation there. Yeah, I know a lot of people are gonna say, oh, this is stupid. That's my opinion. I mean, the reason of playing video games is to feel powerful in these video games and crush everything. Yeah, of course, challenging stuff in video games are important, but not everything to be challenging. I mean, there should be stuff that are not challenging, and there should be a lot of challenging stuff. Very challenging stuff, okay. But it should be balanced between these two, and the option of person to feel very powerful with his character, which for me is when I feel my character getting powerful and powerful and powerful and high levels, and yeah, it's smashing, I feel more intensified to play it. I mean, it's more important. Why am I looking at this direction? The camera is here, I forgot. But it's yeah, it's making me feel more comfortable and desire the game more and more. When I feel less powerful and I hit a wall, I don't like play the game that much. Then I start, if I want to play it, I start looking at build guides or some ways to overcome this wall, or I just stop. That's what is happening. And yeah, this is my opinion. This is only me. Other people like challenges. Okay, another one. We're seeing critical strike damage and vulnerable damage often viewed as a hard requirement for a build success in Diablo 4. Well, yeah, those are the most powerful, and yeah, they're most powerful because they are multiplicative. They are not added in the big bucket of damages. They're multiplicative. These are the two damage types and the overpower damage, but the overpower damage is a little bit weird. But at least it's not nerfed, so we're playing overpower damage builds now. Let's see. Often viewed as a hard requirement for build. Yeah, okay. We believe this is a step towards allowing more builds to flourish, and will continue to make changes in support of this goal. But every build in Diablo 4 needs critical strike and damage and vulnerable damage. Every build. Yeah, probably the critical strikes are not important for damage over time, but the vulnerable is still important. I don't know why they think when nerfing these gonna help. Let's see. So crit strikes 17% damage reduction, 17% reduced, and the worst part, vulnerable damage is 40% lower. I mean, I believe when I log in, because I haven't tried the patch, when I log in, it's gonna be ridiculously bad. that's in my head. I hope that's not the case, but that's how I feel reading these. Disparities in inherent affixes. So these are the specific affixes that are rolled on, for example, swords, shields, as I mentioned, thorns damage on the shields, or the other offhands have cooldown, and swords have critical strike damage. This is the implicit option, let's say. And disparities in inherent affixes can rule some weapons out before the rest of their stats are even rolled. That's correct. For example, I don't want overpower damage on some of my gear when I'm not using overpower, or I don't want criticals when my build is damage over time, or I don't want crowd control damage since I'm not doing crowd control to the enemies, for example. Those are just things popping in my mind. I mean, that's normal when you have an implicit stat and you're playing so many different, you have so many different build variations. That's normal to happen. What do you want, Blizzard? I mean, to play a damage over time build and take a sword for critical strike damage? I don't know. I mean, when I'm reading this, that's what I feel. I hope that they For sure they know what are they doing, but look at this now. This is for the offhands, 35% cooldown reduction. Critical strike damage on swords, 50%. Vulnerable damage on crossbows, 65%. Yeah, so vulnerable damage is taken to the ground. Actually, I'm complaining here and I don't feel well, but to be honest, the vulnerable damage was very powerful and every build was requiring it. Probably now, with these changes, this won't be the case. But there is a but. I haven't seen monsters doing less damage to you. I haven't seen monsters have lower health. Because the reason you were taking these is you are able to do a lot of damage numbers and take their health in 2 hits, for example, before they hit you. Because if they hit you, you may be dead. And I'm not seeing nerfs to their health, which means yeah, we're getting weaker. And it's gonna be more painful to play higher tier content. That's what it says. I mean, yeah, it may balance builds, but it's gonna nerf characters all over the game. I mean, another one, damage bonus to crowd controlled enemies was overperforming relate to the ease of activating it versus strict crowd control type specific affixes. Okay. So yeah, okay, whatever. Nerf crowd control damage to elites. And damage to frozen actually is buffed, which is interesting. It's increased by 20%. That means the Frost Nova is even more desirable now for sorcerers. It's not fixing the problem. Okay. And the last but not the least, let's see what this says. We have seen that skillful players... Well, the dog started barking. Let's start again. We have seen that skillful players are frequently slaughtering monsters many levels above their own. We want to support this, but the current situation is beyond what we believed is correct for the long-term health of the game. Again, long-term health of the game. Health of the game. The game, something about the game apparently is wrong. I don't believe so, but anyways, to chase this goal, we've shifted power to many offensive affixes from defensive affixes, which means they're taking from the defensive ones and putting into the offensive ones. We know this will make our endgame content more deadly. Okay. Don't forget that the best defensive aspect has been nerfed, disobedience, and also we're losing 750 armor because of the seasonal team. So every character is gonna be a glass cannon, I guess. Where was I? We know that this will make our endgame content more deadly, particularly for those chasing our pinnacle boss, an encounter not meant for the faint of heart. I feel bad that I didn't try the pinnacle boss when I should have. Now it's gonna be impossible. Overcoming the pinnacle boss will take every ounce of grit you can muster and all tools at your disposal. Cool. We will continue to evaluate feedback from the community and make changes to our combat mechanics. Let's see. So physical damage increased. As I said, remember the affixes on the druid armors that were giving you +2 werebear and werewolf skills, because they were giving you physical damage and poison damage. So it may be good, we don't know. Buffs plus 25% to all of these damages. Elemental, non-elemental damages, non-physical, whatever. Everything's 25% up. Physical damage over time is 40%. So dot damage, they're trying to make us use dot damage. Okay, that's cool. Nerfing crit and buffing dot, probably. Damage with two-handed bludgeoning and whatever, slashing and dual wielding and ranged. This is for barbarian. Everything's buffed. Human form from druid, shapeshifting, buffed, increased. There was one nerf actually here. I want to see where it is. But all these are buffs for the damage. Yeah, those are buffs. I don't see any. The nerfs start from here. These are the armor stuff. Oops. But all of the bucket Q modifiers, I mean the additive ones, are buffed. So they're essentially more meaningful. At least that's what Blizzard's saying. Let's see how this is gonna work. So yeah, and the worst part is total armor reduced by 30, attack speed for 4 seconds after dodging an attack increased by 20%, so attack speed is increased. Yeah, all of the attacking aspects that are not out of the bucket, so not vulnerable, not critical, those are the best. They're nerfed, but the others that are not that significant for us for now, they were buffed. And they're trying to balance things. I get it. They're trying to balance things, but maybe they could have waited a little bit for all of those changes, implement half of these for season 1, then implement another part in season 2. It's just too much, I guess. And especially for casual players. I mean, I'm between casuals and hardcore players. I'm not that good of the game at the game, but at the same time I'm playing a lot of time. I mean, I have played from the start of the season, from launch. I'm playing every day, and some days I'm playing 8 to 10 hours. There are other days that I'm, for example, 5-6 hours, 4 hours, but I'm not dropping below 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day. And this is every day, every week from the start. I haven't missed a day. Even that I'm not streaming every day. Oh, actually, I missed a few days because I wasn't in town. But anyways, yeah. So I'm speaking of more casual audience that I don't want to push myself. I'm not that good at theory crafting or whatever. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, it doesn't matter that I'm trying to do content. I'm just hoping that I'll get better. I'm trying to think of things, but yeah, I'm still more of a casual audience, and I prefer my content not to be that hard and not to push myself that much when I'm playing the game. I want to sit back and enjoy. I mean, and it's not that enjoyable when you can be killed in one hit. It doesn't matter where in the game, because everything is much tougher now. That is my initial problem. I mean, I don't mind they balancing stuff. It's good overall. It's good because yeah, there was a word that built without vulnerable, they're not viable at all. That was correct. I mean, if you are taking, for example, unique items on pants or on armor slots, you're missing on a lot of damage reduction, or even helms. You're missing so much damage reduction that you're getting one-shotted at Nightmare Dungeons above tier 60. And even if the problem is that even if you were taking all of this damage mitigation, you were still a glass cannon above 70. So yeah, I mean, this damage reduction stuff are, yeah, I know that, I understand that they're doing this so we were more intensified to use different stuff, different affixes to try different mechanics, for example, and everything in the game to be viable, but I don't believe this is gonna happen. I'm not sure, but it doesn't sound reasonable for me. Whatever, that's the whole patch, and I didn't even went through the Malignant Heart, which is the seasonal team, but I guess I'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, okay, so if somebody is watching a 2-hour video long, thank you very much. I appreciate this a lot, but nobody's gonna watch that either ways. Me bubbling around the season stuff, the patch notes here anyways. Thank you guys. A big shout out to Max Rowe for all of their amazing content, and yeah, I hope they continue doing this because it's very helpful for a lot of players and even content creators. Or yeah, thank you very much to everybody. See you on stream, see you in Sanctuary, and let's pray we're not dying. Also, don't forget to follow me on my Triple T and drop a follow on my YouTube, or just like the video, either if you're not watching it to the end. Thank you. Bye.